previously on Next Level Carpentry. Turning this knob is supposed to control the variable speed, but I pretty much got nothing here. So here I am to do a follow-up on this brand new drill press and see if I can figure out why the speed control only works intermittently, but mostly not. The main power switch is on, pressing the green start button brings it up to some speed, kind of random. Right now it's 1,000. This range should go from about 900 to 3,600. And it doesn't really do that. It just kind of lurks around whatever speed it comes on at. You can hear little fluctuations in the sound of the motor, and everything works great, except I can't set the speed like I'm supposed to. So I'm going to get into this. I was on the phone with JPW because that's how it's handled. I purchased the drill press from ACME Tools. The whole transaction went great, assembly went great, everything like that. You can see in the video here of the unboxing, setup, and assembly of this. But as you saw on the end of that video, the speed control didn't work. So I got a hold of JPW, a few phone calls, and a false start with an email. But it worked out where I talked again with Anthony, addressed the problem, I explained it, he listened and processed everything I was saying. And from what I understand, from what Anthony was telling me, they've had a couple of issues like this before, and the cause at that time was the printed circuit board that's inside this housing. And so he said, hey, we'll just send you a new printed circuit board. Can I fix it? Yes, I can. I don't want to have to arrange with a service center here, so I'm just going to fix this. And then I asked him, just in case it's the control knob itself, can you send me that? So that's what he did, and that speaks well of their attitude for customer service, is to just get the problem handled. And you know, that's what you expect with a drill press that's nearly $3,000, but this to me is just a natural occurrence. It's not common, but it's not impossible that a brand new machine can come with a problem. And I'm not sure where this video is going to go, because my gut still tells me that this acts like a loose wire. When I unboxed it, started up, the control didn't work. I had the drill press over here. I slid it across the shop floor, and it kind of chattered as I slid it. And after that, this was working great. Everything worked fine. I was able to do a project, drill a bunch of holes, and the speed control worked in both ranges. Everything was fine. I thought the problem was over with. And when I explained that to Powermatic, I said, but I'd still like to get the parts because this is intermittent, and when it quits, I want to have the parts to swap out. And that happened again. When I went to shoot this video, I tried this out, and lo and behold, it's not working again. And I want to show you the replacement parts quick before I open this up, and you can see where they go. And actually, I'll see where they go too, because I've not replaced these parts before. So here's the parts as I received them from JPW Powermatic. And again, this is something that's handled by the manufacturer, JPW, and not ACME Tools. And because I like the drill press, I'm sure it's going to be the best drill press I ever had. I'm not seeking to return it with ACME Tools, although I think if that was the only option, that's how it would get worked out. But there's the variable potentiometer, I think, if I got the term right. Little knob. This turns with a little more resistance than the one on the drill press. Granted, there's not a big knob on there, but so the problem could be this dinky little switch. Could be the wires from the switch, or this is the printed circuit board that you'll see inside the machine. Large heat sink on there, a couple screws to mount it, and then a number of wires. So those are the parts, and the expectation is that either a loose wire or one of these two parts is the culprit. So let's open up the drill press and find out. So I think I'll go ahead and shut this off, and what the heck, let's get wild and crazy and unplug it too, because we're working with line voltage inside the case here. As formidable as the machine looks, it comes apart quite easily. This whole plastic up here is basically a dust shroud. And I'm using a 2.5 millimeter hex to take out a couple of button head cap screws up here that hold the halves of this together at the top. Those come out nice, quick and easy. And then a 4mm removes 3 of them on the side here. And then that half of the cover just lifts off. And while I'm at it, I'll pop the other side of this guy off. And as I'm fond of saying, second verse, same as the first. And that's all there is to it inside the machine once that dust cover is removed. And it's a pretty straightforward setup because there's a gearbox instead of a bunch of belts and pulleys, which overall is a pretty sweet setup. And because the main thing I suspect about this whole thing is loose wires, just because of the way it behaves, I thought I would just kind of check everything up here. This all looks very secure. None of these wires are pulling out. Everything seems to be fully seated, plugged in, grounded, all that stuff. And I'll just do another quick test here and just see if that made any difference, which I don't think it will. Nope, pretty much the same. Although I would not have been surprised at all if wiggling those wires made a difference. But it didn't, so now I want to check where the wires are from that speed control dial. I'm not really sure how this comes apart, but I have a 5mm socket head cap screw on the top. And I think there's probably another one on the bottom, so I'm going to remove the LED light down here. And I'm using a metric Phillips tip for that. Now it looks like there's a couple of those 5mm hex head cap screws underneath. Let's see if that'll do the job. I'm keeping those screws segregated over there. Let's see if this is the secret. And those 3 are the same size and the same length. Presto. And I'm still kind of keeping an eye out for loose wires in here, but this just comes off. And I see there's another circuit board in here. The speed control wires, that's all plugged in firmly there. Everything seems to be good and in order. And I guess that little board there is just the display. But I know the problem isn't with the display because you can physically hear and see the rotational difference when the speed control is working. So it's something other than that. So I am gonna go out on a limb here, plug this in and just see if anything changed with this movement. And just to be clear, I am not authorized by Powermatic to do this. I'm authorized by me. So let's just see if anything changed. Wow, how about that? Isn't that interesting? Just tapping that changes the speed, although it doesn't make the knob work. That is quite interesting. So I'll go into green energy mode again here by unplugging the machine. And just the way this is behaving, I'm going to change out that switch first. Like I said, I think I said Powermatic thought that in previous cases it was the printed circuit board, but this control just seems kind of loose. This one actually seems more like it's doing something. So let's just see what happens with this. A teeny tiny screw in here. There's not a 2mm. Lo and behold, it's a metric standard screwdriver. That's unusual, but there it is. Looks like that switch is held in with a 10mm nut. Gonna make a metric guy out of me yet, huh? Nut and a washer. Switch comes out and unplugs from that little printed circuit board. And the twisting of the knob, it feels about the same, or the twisting of the control feels about the same without a knob on it. I'm just going to write new on this and old on this just so they don't get confused. Actually, they'll get mixed up. I get confused. It even came with a new nut and washer just in case those are bad, right? It's firmly seated in the board. And I'll point it out, I don't know if this will show up, but there's a little lug on the side of this switch that keeps the switch from rotating, and it fits when the wires are down rather than having the wires pointing up. Maybe you can see that here, the orientation of the switch or the control, whatever you want to call it. Unplug that one more time. Kind of get those wires organized so they're not crossed over so much. Got that all plugged in just like it looks like it should be. Let's reinstall this knob. And it looks like the little dial is where it's supposed to be. And here we go again. Now that the control is in there, I'm comfortable with that. Power on. Fire it up. 1700 RPM. Oh, look at that. 600. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks to me that this little bitty switch was the problem with the whole drill press, and not just a loose wire. Apparently something internally in the switch seems to be the deal. And the speed range that you're seeing, whatever that was, 600 to 3600, that's with the gear shift in the high range, and I can switch it to the low range here by pulling this knob. You can see this little LED or fiber optic light there that lets the machine know which mode it's in. And now turning this on, the speed range is a lot lower. I don't want to stick my fingers in anything back there. So the speed range here is 150 to like 850, 870 I guess. So with that switch switched out, everything appears to be functioning normally with the range of speeds in both speed ranges. Oh yeah. So all in all, that's a very painless fix, a small problem that causes a big problem, but on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 1 or a 2. And while I've got everything torn apart, I'll zoom in on the printed circuit board just to kind of show that configuration, just in case somebody has an issue with that instead of that. So here I am topside, there's the printed circuit board, all the associated wiring, etc. Wires that go from the board down to the control and from the control to the motor, etc. This is all pretty straightforward. If it was the board itself, replacing it would be a matter of pulling these various connectors out of here. And then it looks like here there's a couple of the mounting bolts and then a couple extra screws there. Probably would take removing all 4 of those to swap out the board. But as it is, it's all very accessible, very well set up, and could easily be swapped by just doing 1 wire at a time from the old board to the new, swapping the board, reattaching it, and then reassembling so that everything is good to go. And looking at this setup, you can see here is the transmission. All the gears and everything are internal. The motor is pretty well self-contained, very well enclosed, etc. And if you look on their website, there's a cutaway of this assembly with the transmission. You can see the gears in there and stuff. But as it is, it's all pretty simple and straightforward. Little gear shift there again. Although no matter how clean and straightforward, it's still susceptible to failure from a faulty potentiometer. And I'm glad that Chip was paying attention while I took that apart so that I can make a few comments while he's putting it back together. Because I want to mention that I made a decision to buy the drill press from ACME Tools because of their high level of customer service and their depth of product knowledge. And you get all that for the same price as other online suppliers, which in today's online marketplace is a very important thing. Because as you're seeing, even with a high-priced piece of equipment, things can go wrong, and you just need somebody there to help you navigate through and get the problem resolved. Both ACME Tool and JPW Powermatic gave me various options. This one was completely acceptable, and it worked out in the long run. So I'm quite pleased with that, and I feel comfortable that you'll get the same level of customer service and product knowledge from ACME Tools if you shop there. And because of that relationship, I'm including links in the video description to this drill press, the chain hoist that I used for assembling it in the other video, and their entire catalog of tools and products that you can browse and shop from if you're looking for some of those tools and can't find them locally or need some of that product knowledge that I was talking about. And you should know that as an affiliate of ACME Tools, they pay small ad fees to Next Level Carpentry that help support video production here at the channel, although you get the same low online price you expect for their products and services. And it's looking like Chip is getting wrapped up over there, so looks like you're good to go. Yeah, I think it's all set. Should be good to go, but make sure you plug it in and try it out before you wrap up the video, eh? Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for all your help, and thanks for putting that together while I'm over here jabber-jawing with the audience. And we're going to do another test run of the drill press just to make sure everything's still working like it's supposed to. Well, here I am in a bit of a deja vu moment, ending this video in the same place I ended the last video when it came time to plug in my new drill press and see how it works. Although hopefully this time this will be a little less embarrassing. Turning the main power switch on and pressing the magic green button. Yes indeed, 2150 RPM, how about that? Singing at 3650, I'm going to tune at 600. Everything quick and easy, very responsive, and performing just like it should. So I'm going to end the video with this, and thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out this Sequel update for my new Powermatic PM2820 EVS drill press. I'm not doing an in-depth review of the machine at this point, although I can tell you I've used it for an ongoing project. When the switch was kind of working intermittently, the drill press works fantastic. And now that the diesel truck is done roaring up the hill outside my shop, I can tell you that a couple of my favorite features are the LED work light, which really lights up the surface nice and allows me to dial things in for real precision. And so that LED light's at the top of my favorites for convenience. My favorite operational feature is the depth stop control. The setup takes a little bit of getting used to, but it has the capability of stopping the up travel or locking the quill down. And it also has a very positive depth stop feature that stops the quill at a precise point. You can hear it click. That's a very consistent, repeatable point, and I really like that feature. I was doing some holes, and I had to drill multiple holes to a very precise depth, and they were just perfect. I mean, within thousandths of an inch, because there's no variation by pulling harder on the handles to lower the quill. Unlike the drill press that I'm upgrading away from, the depth stop works with this little knob that slides up and down, which is all well and good because it doesn't slip, but this little bracket, it flexes, and I can change the depth of a hole just by pulling harder on the handle. And if I don't pull the handle equally each time, the depth of the holes varies from one to the next at an unacceptable level. The sound that the drill press makes is different because it's gears instead of belts and pulleys, but it's not loud, although it does take some getting used to because I've never had a drill press with gears before. But it runs so smoothly, and the speed dial is so precise when it's working right, like it is now, that I'd be able to put up with any kind of noise difference for that kind of performance. The quill runs very true. You almost can't see it spinning because it's so true. Have a drill bit in there, and there's no wobble in the bit as long as the bit is straight. I'm loving the Llambrich keyless chuck that I talked about more in the last video. That is super handy and allows real quick changing of the bits. I don't have a chuck key to keep track of, and it does not slip. And I've not even used the accessory wrench to tighten it more. And the last thing I'll mention is that I upgraded this disposable insert, or the sacrificial insert in the table, and I made that by modifying set screws underneath and making this out of MDF. It's a great feature. It works very well. I've got a whole stack of replacements that once I spoil one of these, I just pop it out and put another one in. And for anyone that's interested in that, I'll tell you that I did a patron-only video showing the process for making those inserts. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up as a patron and you'll have access to that video along with a whole bunch of other ones in the growing patron-only video library there. And that's not really a bait and switch thing because those are very long, rather specific videos and not the sort that I produce for the wider YouTube audience. So if you're interested in videos like that or just supporting video production here at Next Level Carpentry, follow the link to Patreon in the video description and check that out. And I'll thank you in advance for your extra support. So with that, I'll end this video by saying, as always, and until next time, thanks for watching. Yeah, hey, Mitch, thanks for taking the call. Yeah, no, I got the new drill press running finally. Yeah, it was a switch. Pretty easy to switch out, get it all running. So anytime you want, why don't you come by with your truck and we'll get your Delta 770X90 drill press loaded up and you can haul it away, put this thing to use. Yeah, you bet. Same price we agreed on. And it comes with a lifetime guarantee from me at Next Level Carpentry. All right, see you when you get here. Take care, Mitch. Well, you guys, say goodbye because Delta is heading down the road.